Hello, everybody.
Ooh, spooky intro.
I loved it.
Welcome, everyone, to Delight in Fright. I'm your host, Kat, and the lovely Luna is, I think, zigzag from me up in the. There she
Yeah.
Today, we have some amazing guests of the small short film, Real Cool Time. And when I say misunderstand me when I say small film, it is an amazing picture, 25 minutes, but still a lot of awesome things going on. We have with us Alice Sheen that plays Julia in the film, and we also have our producers Jacob Belinsky and Emily Dirkholtz, and they have won awards for this picture. One that I know of here is a Best Actress, Days of the Dead Film Festival for Lanae Hyman. And Best Short nominations for short film for Matthew, Jacob, and Emily. Best Production Design nominee for Matthew, Jacob, and Emily as well. And Bad Motherfucker Best in Show nominee for Matthew, Jacob, and Emily. And then we have the Best Poster nominee for Matthew, and the Houston Horror Film Festival Jury Award nominee Best Actress for Alice.
Yeah.
Yay.
And I believe we have another award that we didn't know about.
Oh, Jake, do you want to?
Oh, is it this one? We won
Oh,
best
there it is.
cinematography at Scum Dance. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
Can we get a close look on that? What is it? Is it like a little?
Like a little guy with the film reel. You know.
Ooh, that's really nice, actually.
Yeah, no, that was real cool to get in the mail. I was very we were very shocked
It
and
was a
excited
real
when we
cool
found
time
that out.
to get it.
Was
It was a real cool time.
I'm glad that you had a really cool time getting it.
Snail mail is always a real cool time.
Yeah, it brings back a lot of interesting things. So speaking of real cool time, I have the real cool time trailer. Shall we get started with it?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Let's go ahead and roll it, guys.
So listen. You're on the cover of next month's Flux, and you owe me an interview. Remember? You maul a semi-famous rock star and literally try to eat her face off. So what's your point? Everybody who's anybody knows it happened, yet nobody's got the story. I want this, and when I want something, I don't stop until I get it. Julia, I need you to leave.
911, what's your emergency?
Julia? What happened? You happened! You can't have her. Stay back! Devin, you hearing me? First to
Oh, that was so good, guys. That
Aw.
brought me back.
Yay.
So it was like, the whole movie was just kind of like, okay, the pacing starts out really good, and then it gets better and better and better, and you're like, once you're like deep in it, you're like sitting there like, oh, come on, Julia, you gotta do something here. So it was so exciting. It was a roller coaster. I haven't seen a good roller coaster movie in a hot minute, so thank you for taking me on that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Wow.
Miss Cat, how'd you feel? What was your first reaction watching this?
I from the beginning, I mean, there's a quote from Iggy Pop. I love you when my eyes are open. I'll love you when my eyes are gone. That's just I love reading his work, and it's just a nice tone to set for the film.
Mm-hmm.
And the music is just I love it.
Oh yeah, Nick's score is amazing.
Oh yeah. It starts in really ominous, like that doom doom, like
Yeah.
you know you're getting into some
No,
stuff.
like no, he scored the shit out of the movie. Like it really musically, I thought like really fit the tone of it very well. So
And then there was that kind of poppy section when they're listening to the record.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And that shows off his versatility.
Well, and like Matt's whole, I feel like he approached even though it's a visual medium, he approached it with a certain sense of musicality, like, you know, like starting with the Iggy Pop quote and everything. Like music is, I mean, we have a character that's a musician, we're dealing in the music world, but there's like, music is part of the texture of the movie, I think, in terms of like, just even at the script level.
As producers, how much did that cost you, run you as far as budget for those songs that were used?
Well, they were all original. It was all original music. So honestly, very little. So
Nice.
yeah, no, it was. We shot the movie. I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to talk about this. This is more Matt's forte, but no, we shot it very
Just
quick.
percentage.
And very quick and very cheap.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that didn't come across that way. It looked really well done. I mean, some work you're like, you can tell it's like I call it a Walmart budget. God
Yeah.
bless
Yeah.
you.
No,
God
that's
bless you to everybody that
spot
has
on.
Walmart budgets, but
This is a Target budget.
Yes,
Yes.
Tarjay.
it looked like a Costco budget. You guys went wholesale. You guys went wholesale on the
I'll
Membership
take that.
fees.
That's fine.
Yes, absolutely. It was such a fun ride. How did you all get involved in this fun project?
Oh, Alice, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So it was probably prior to the pandemic when Matt told me he saw me in a play. It was a play called Puffs, kind of based on Harry Potter, the Hufflepuff House. Emily was in that play as
Yay!
well. It's a parody, and I think he liked my performance in it, so he kind of had me in mind for this role. And I know that this role is part of a whole universe that he has created. Like Lanae's character Devin was in a previous movie, a feature length called Morbid Colors. So he was kind of adding me into this universe. In that previous movie had Devin and the half sister, the ghostly red figure. And so I'm coming in as this music journalist who is trying to get this scoop about what happened with her half sister. So that's how I got involved. Yeah.
Em and I, well, we kind of came as like a package deal.
Well, you've known Matt for a long time, so
I have. Like, I've known Matt all the way back to his film he made before Morbid Colors, Margot. Met when he was still working on that. So we've known each other for years and have always just sent like scripts and cuts back and forth. Like, hey, what do you think? And, you know, helped each other out. Like, hey, you have these props. Can we use this for a shoot? And yeah, sure. So like, we've always kind of like helped each other out. But after Morbid Colors, because
we were both involved.
Yeah,
in
we both
Morbid-
produced on that and we acted in it.
And I did makeup too.
Yeah, you did.
for
Oh God, you did
some of
makeup
it, some
effects.
of it.
I was the colorist. Okay, so yeah, we worked. Even though we weren't on set a lot, we worked on that one too. But when Matt was putting Real Cool Time together, he wanted to make it rather than just help out. Like we started from the ground up as like it was a full on co-production. So we got in on the ground level, helping out there, and this was the first time that Matt. He's probably going to listen to this and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. I think this is the first time that he decided to not run camera. Normally, like I shoot for myself when I'm directing. He normally shoots for himself. So this is the one where he's like, he wanted to pass it off and he asked me to run camera, which I thought was really cool. And I was really excited about because normally I kind of help out more in post. So this is one of the first times I got to actually jump out and be a director of photography for another director that wasn't me. So we jumped in on the ground level when he was putting this together, and it was a lot of fun. But like we've known Matt for years. It's just like, okay, what are you doing next? What am I doing next? What are we working on? We just kind of assume that we're going to help each other out somehow.
Mhm.
That's awesome. We have a first hello of the session tonight of our lovely podcast. Juan says hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Juan.
We have some sneaky ninjas in the back, but they're not saying anything.
Oh,
so-
Hi,
nice.
sneaky ninjas.
Yay, sneaky
Hi,
ninjas.
sneaky
Friends.
ninjas. We see you guys. We see
They're
you
our
guys
favorite
watching.
kinds of ninjas.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, obvious ninjas wouldn't be very useful.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe a good name for a band, Obvious Ninja.
Obvious ninja. Ooh.
I'm gonna pitch that to Matt. That can be a band in the next one. I like it.
It's just me and
Yeah.
Alice on ukulele.
Yeah. And if you guys need to cover some of it, we'd love to, As long as we get some credits, Delight and Fright credits, and then you guys can be on our show, and we'll just
Yeah.
Awesome.
boost each other up. This is
Oh,
what
yeah.
this is what this horror community is all about, especially in the indie
Oh, yeah.
community. Me and Kat have found that we support you guys. You guys in turn support us by sharing our content. Like, hey, we did this interview with this awesome people.
Yeah.
And then more directors and actors will reach out to us, and then it kind of builds momentum. So we've
That's
been very
awesome.
fortunate to have a lot of steam picked up recently. So I want to thank everybody for helping us with that.
Yay, glad to be a part of it now.
yeah, totally.
Happy to do that for you.
Yeah, the indie
right.
like the indie community definitely, but I think specifically the indie horror community. It's like this lovely little corner of, and I say this affectionately, like we're all weird misfits and just like the same. Yeah, no, the indie horror community is fantastic.
Yeah, we've had such good luck and such good times with everybody we've spoken with. So it's definitely really nice to feel welcomed in a community. So speaking of community, this is a perfect segue for you guys. How did you guys get into horror?
Oh,
I would say my entry point was definitely this guy, because I was not into scary movies.
It's my fault. I'm
It is
sorry.
your fault. No, but I love it.
I'm not
too.
sorry.
I maybe the first significant horror thing. Well, gosh, it's hard to. I did like another horror short in college that I don't think ever came out. That was maybe my first glimpse into it. But then I did a musical, Evil Dead the musical, and I had never seen the Evil Dead movies, and I had just started dating Jacob, and he said that he would only come to see the show if I watch all of the movies. So we spent one weekend watching all of those before I went to rehearsal.
I was a
one day.
tiny bit of a shit, but I thought it was for the.
Oh, no,
I was
it was
like,
great.
you have to see these movies that this is a parody of, and I want to show you.
And one
It's
of my
research.
yes,
Yeah,
research.
exactly.
One of my favorite things about Evil Dead the musical is it definitely wraps in all of the three Evil Deads, and like the story of 1 and 2 combined, plus all the one-liners you get with Army of Darkness.
It's such a smart adaptation.
So we watched all the movies and the remake, which scared the life out of me. And I get to rehearsal and I'm like, oh, now I get all the jokes. I get all the one-liners. So I don't know, that kind of started my journey. So, and then working on horror stuff, it just, we are partners in life and in our art. So I kind of just has come along with the territory for me. So,
Yeah.
That's me.
Nice.
Yay.
What about you, Jacob and Alice?
Oh, Alice, you want to go, or do you want me to?
No, I think your story maybe.
Okay. I don't have some magic moment. Like I've always liked horror. Like when I was a kid, it was mostly the you can't watch that. Well, now I want to kind of a thing. My mom, I love her, but she was like very overprotective when I was growing up. Like, you can't watch R-rated movies. You can't do that. I'm like, but we have cable and you go to sleep early, so it's fine. So, you know, of course, I can't watch Friday the 13th. We're going to sneak off and watch that. And I always liked, for lack of a better way of putting it, just like the more fucked up, dark, you know, traumatic horror. I don't know. Like I always found like the stuff that everybody was like turned off about the genre about like really appealed to me. I've always kind of likened horror to, do I want to be chased by a killer and experience all this terrible trauma in real life? Of course, fuck no. But like, you know, it's a safe way to experience the unsafe. It's like, I don't want to fall to my death either, but I like riding roller coasters. And it's like, it's sort of a way to experience like the extreme under like controlled parameters. And it's all, you know, that's part of the manipulation of the storytelling of like, oh, I want you to be scared here. Okay, this is too much. Well, that's the correct reaction. And I don't know. I always thought horror was more visceral and interesting and just a much wider like plane to run through creatively than other genres. I mean, like I just love storytelling in general, but horror is, I think that horror kind of gets written off too many times as like this dirty little cinematic stepbrother genre, when it's really just like, but you realize everything is being done in there on this, everybody, it's no different than like taking ordinary circumstances and dialing them up to like the level of like a Marvel movie. It's just, you know, in a more specific vein of tension and drama. And I don't know, like horror just makes sense to me, and stuff doesn't really scare me. Everybody's like, "Is this movie scary?" I'm like, "You should not ask me." But but you, I mean, I'm weird and I'm grinning and like, you know, I'm not. It's not easy to scare me, but I'm very easily startled. So jump scares work like a motherfucker on me, and like I love that every time. I'm like, you got me. It's like it's like a haunted house. It's like you're laughing about it. So I don't know. Horror is just, I think it's a good catharsis, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I've just kind of always gravitated to horror personally, but. Alice.
Oh, cool.
Your turn, Alice.
Yeah. I had never really been interested in horror as a kid. I guess, just I wasn't exposed to that, not for any particular reason. But in the past couple of years, my partner got me into the Saw movies, and I didn't think I'd be that into body horror. But I was really into it. Like just like all of them. Like I like all of the movies.
It's just Mousetrap. It's Mousetrap the game, but with people dying. Yeah.
Yeah. And the psychological twist of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I kind of got more into the horror movies, watching them. And then I think Jake hosted a couple of like Halloween dorkathons at his house, like just scary movie marathons. So I went to a couple of those. And then when Matt asked me to be in this movie, it was the first time I acted in a horror film, and like the stunts and the fake blood. I think that was right up my alley as well. So yeah, finding horror was kind of later in life for me, but something about the physicality of it, and of course the illusion of it, because like when we block and choreograph our fight scenes, we have to make sure we're safe and doing it all at a slow tempo first and then moving it up. So that kind of performing horror is interesting, being behind the scenes. So we're not truly scared, but creating some kind of scary experience is fun.
That's really good insight, guys.
Thank you.
I think one of my favorite things about working on Real Cool Time in particular, in that along those same lines, Alice, is the illusion of it's not just an illusion. We only had 6 takes in the movie, so 6 continuous takes. So there were a lot of times where we were crawling around Alice's apartment, moving lights or turning them off, or like someone had it appear here when they weren't before in the shot. And so that was the coordinating of all that. What was such a cool challenge, and sometimes the take had to be redone because that choreography was off, not our actors. It was just a matter of, that light timing didn't work, so we need to go back and do it again.
I
love some takes.
Oh yeah.
You have to do it all over again.
No, Alice, you're perfect.
I was thinking, and then 5 minutes later, it's like, we have to start all over again. Shit.
No, but that was a really interesting challenge that we gave ourselves.
The logistics of shooting this was one of the more challenging shoots I think I've ever had.
Yeah,
definitely.
Whose idea was it to just do it in 6 takes? Did you guys just want a fun little challenge you guys could do?
Oh, that was all Matt. Hi, Matt. I love you. I hate you. I love you. You're not here. No, that was I love you, buddy. That was all him in the script. He mapped the whole thing out where he's like, okay, so each one, as I was reading, I'm like, okay, cool. How do you want to shoot this? He's like, it's 6 shots. It's all continuous takes. I'm like, okay. I mean, I pushed a little bit. I was like, so you have some props in here that we're only going to get 1 take, like the plate breaking. So I was like, I kind of pushed. I was like, okay, we need to hide some cuts in here. So it's 6. It is 6 continuous takes, but there's a couple hidden edits in there, sort of like how Hitchcock did Rope, where it's just like it's supposed to seem like it's continuous. But that was sort of like out of the gate. Like, we have 2 nights. How are we going to do this? And it's all these sweeping continuous takes. And it helped that it was in one space, but we had to light all these different rooms. And then, it made the color grade very challenging. It required a lot of prep. We had a rehearsal night too, didn't we? If I remember right.
We had
2 nights of shooting and 1. It's a little foggy. I think we did 1 rehearsal night.
I think that's right, Alice. I don't think.
Yeah, that'd be more Alice. You might remember that more. All the shooting bled together for me.
Walked it all out because our second night of shooting was like 12 straight hours. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having it. I appreciate y'all having us on your podcast. We're just kind of having collective PTSD about the shoot here now.
Aww.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I'm still finding fake blood in my apartment.
Did you ever get it all cleaned out of your freezer?
Yes, but I got a new refrigerator since then.
Oh, there you go.
It was just too scary to keep looking at. Just kidding. It would bring up the PTSD. Ah, there's the blood again. 12 hours. Ah.
All this blood. We broke your lamp. Ah, sorry about that again.
Oh, that did get fixed.
Good.
Yes, I remember.
Oh, I can see your apartment right now where you are, Alice. Is that where you filmed? I can kind of remember the doorways and stuff.
Yeah, like it's like a gothic kind of 1800s kind of house. It's got the transoms, and it's like a creepy looking house with several entrances into different rooms. So it was
A
I
big
think
mirror
Yeah.
too.
mirror.
That was fun to try to shoot around and incorporate. But no,
Yeah.
Alice, my favorite part of that is like, yeah, it's your apartment and it was perfect for the shoot. But we spent how long? Like Matt, Emily, and I, and well, I think you and Lanae were involved too. Like we were all running around like trying to find like the right location. We needed like a space that we could take over. And then late in the game, you were like, we could shoot at my place. And I went and like got some footage and showed it to Matt. He's like, oh shit, this is perfect. And we're like, why did we not just start with your apartment? But it worked out. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Like we had to use like a closet door as the real door,
Mhm.
Yes.
but because
And,
my
like, this-
my actual door is glass. So.
right. We're like, this door goes into this part of the we sort of like played with the structure of the location. But yeah, the apartment worked great.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I loved seeing it. So did you guys have like fun making it? Because it looked really interesting, like the ending and everything. I won't spoil it for those that have not seen this because you need to see it.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead. It was a lot of fun. It was 2 very long nights.
Yeah, I joke
of
about
filming.
the PTSD thing, but like, of course it was fun. Like we're masochists and for some reason love to do this, but of course it's a lot of work. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Tiring.
Yeah.
Tiring.
Mhm.
I'm glad that we didn't have another day tacked on.
Yeah,
But
there were some like, of course, with any project, there were like tense moments, like, oh shit, are we gonna get this? And then it was just like, come on, we got to. The sun's coming up. But like, once we got each take, it was like this, and we were going to the living room and like reviewing each take, like afterwards, like, okay, is this the one? Is this the one? Can we cut them? Do we need to use this? Do we need another one? And it was like, once we got it, there was just that collective like, not euphoria, but just like, oh shit, we got it. Like
sigh of
feeling in the room.
relief.
Yeah.
And
So it was like, I feel like we were constantly chasing that sense of accomplishment, like the whole shoot of just like, did we get that take? Okay, what's the next one? So it was, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And a good group too. I mean, like we all got to just hang out at Alice's for a couple days. So that was fun.
Aww.
Yeah, and this was my first time meeting Lanae. And so
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, prior to that, we had a couple of rehearsals over Zoom. And then we met, and then we had to, grapple and spar with each other. And she was wonderful to work with, and just like watching her in all the takes, I'm like, oh yeah, she's definitely winning that Best Actress award. Like after each take, Jake would load the footage onto the television just to like check which one was the best take, and it was always kind of fun just rewatching ourselves and deciding if we needed to do it again.
Yeah. Now I always like that part. It feels like little like, not like a movie night, but just like, okay, team review. What do we think?
I snapped several pictures of the group reviewing takes. I think that was my favorite too, because we all like snuggled in on the couch and like,
and I probably was a bear that night because I was watching it. It was like, this is the one. I'm like, focus was soft. That didn't like camera shadow. I'm like ripping it apart. And they're like, this looks good. I'm like, it's like 60%. It looks like shit. So like, it was, we were all like, oh, this looks good. It's like, and we kept pushing a little bit more to get it.
To clarify, all of those were usually like you're self-critiquing, not the performances. It's usually
I mean, we all are. I'm not trying to say like more than anyone else, but like for me, I'm intensely hypercritical, and usually it's like, okay, that's an A. I'm like, that's a C+ or a B-. We can do better. So, but yeah, and it was finding that middle ground. But once we got it, we were like, that's the one. So each time that was cool.
Yeah,
well, I
absolutely.
mean, when you're a perfectionist, you're very picky, especially when it comes to yourself. So I know how that could be.
Well, and like also for me, yeah, definitely that. I think maybe I heightened that for me a little bit, just because again, this was like one of the first times I was shooting for anyone other than me, and it's not like, oh well, you're never like really comfortable, you know. I think that if you get comfortable, that's a recipe for disaster. You kind of have to live in discomfort for art to work, but that's just my thought. But like when we were like going through it, like I just felt like I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was just really good juju, I guess.
Good vibes.
Yeah, good
vibes.
good vibes. But like I guess what I'm trying to say is like I wanted to do a really good job for my friend, because I was like, okay, well, this is, you have your expectation for you, but if someone's entrusting you to this, so like I kept myself from getting at all comfortable, I guess. You know,
but do you think he kind of set you up? Matt kind of set you, all of a sudden he's like, oh, I want you to be to do the camera work. It's 6 takes, by the way. Like
he's like, I mean, it was kind of cool. I came in, he's like, all right, we're just gonna do 6 takes. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, there's no wiggle room. He's like, nope. I'm like, what if we can't pull it off? He's like, we're gonna. I'm like, oh, all right, no plan B. Fuck it, let's go.
Well, that's one of my favorite
a lot
things.
Of faith in you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a sign of a good director too, of just like, you know, knowing when to push. You know, like okay, no, we can reach a little bit further, and it's like that's part of, I think, directing is leading the team, and Matt is very good at that.
And I was gonna say you and Matt together are really good at pushing each other artistically.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
so, yeah.
Matt saw this like, oh, I know that Jake can tackle this challenge, but it is a challenge. So let's see it happen. And I think that as we continue talking about like future projects coming up, the challenge keeps mounting like higher.
It's
and
like,
higher.
okay, okay, how do we do more? And eventually it'll be like, we can't pull this off. We've reached too far, but we haven't gotten there yet. So.
Not yet.
So we have one comment and one question from 2 viewers. First one is, one shot of the dead was great for the long takes too. Congrats for getting them put together. From Chris. And then Brian stated, I'm sorry that I missed this movie at Spooky Empire. It looks like a great psychological thriller. And then if you guys are going to eventually put it out in a streaming service or platform or anything like that.
Oh, well, as for that first comment, I got a comment on the one cut of the dead thing, because we just watched this.
We did just watch that.
We do a thing in October where we have to watch, like, we try to watch a horror movie every day and then like binges on the weekends. But like she hadn't seen one cut of the dead, and I love that movie, so I was like, oh, you got to see this thing. So I love that got singled out, because that was kind of an influence or inspiration for me, even though it's not the same genre, just the way that they approach that. Like I love, like, just narratively, but the technical aspects of that movie I think are brilliant.
Alice,
so,
you'll have to come watch that with us if you haven't seen it yet.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You'll love it. It's so good. So thank you, Christopher, for singling that, mentioning that. That was cool. As far as like how it's coming out, like Alice, I'm trying to not say we know some of the future plans, and I don't know what Matt wants to say, but I think what I was about to say, he said at the festival at Victory. Like, has he said do you know the plan?
Well, like Morbid Colors, the previous film, is out on a streaming service.
Yeah, you can rent that most places, I think, digitally or physical.
Yeah. So maybe this will eventually be on there.
I think that's the plan.
Yeah, the plan. There is more. There is more to come from this universe, and there's a plan for how they will be packaged. I just don't. It's bad. I'm trying to not misspeak as a producer.
At liberty to discuss.
Yes, it will be available.
You will be able to consume
it will be available in a form, I'd say, in 2024 would be my guess. It just might be more. It's weird to talk around a thing you're trying to not talk about, because you don't want your friend to be like, you weren't supposed to talk about that.
So
you didn't say enough about it.
But people are excited.
Into a corner, so
it is,
there's more coming. It's coming out. It will be widely available.
There's more coming, guys. No, rest assured. And I did, while you guys were discussing that briefly, I checked. Morbid Colors is available on Vudu. Watch now for free with ads. Amazon Prime Video, the Roku channel apparently, and it's available on YouTube for the primetime subscription. So
nice. And I know that I think you can buy. I think they still have physical copies, DVDs with special features, like at most of those places. But yeah, digitally. Also, definitely check it out, because
Yes,
the
morbid colors.
the nice thing, I got to throw Matt a little plug here that I like when he sat down to write Real Cool Time. He's like, okay, so this is a sequel to Morbid Colors, but he wanted it to also be an entry point. So if you hadn't seen Morbid Colors, the feature that takes place before it, you could just jump in and watch this and then be like, oh, there's more story. And really, that feature, in my opinion, I hope Matt isn't offended by this, but like at this point, I think it kind of exists as more like a prologue, because like the universe and the characters have kind of like blown up and are going. They're scattering, but if you've seen Morbid Colors, you kind of get to see where it starts. So, but I think that was a testament to the writing, because that's not easy to write something that is a follow-up, but also could stand as a remake. Like,
yeah.
Like when you see those, what they call like rebootquels, or whatever, it's like, okay, well, this could build on the lore, but also you could treat this as an entry point if you've never seen the rest of the franchise. And I really appreciate the writing that he was able to pull that off, because when he told me, I was like, I don't know how to do that. How are you going to do that? And he did it. So.
That's really smart. I mean, that's how I got into Evil Dead. I saw Evil Dead 2 first.
That's
and then
the
I
thing.
went back
Yeah.
and hunted down the others. So that's a really smart way to get someone into the universe.
Okay, raise your hand if your entry point for Evil Dead was not Evil Dead 2. That's everyone's entry point, right? Or like, because I'm with you. I hope we're not alone.
My entry point was the musical. So
I saw the musical first.
yeah.
My entry point was Army of Darkness.
Wow.
Okay, see, now that's
Nice.
good.
That is good.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think anyone that's introduced on Army of Darkness, it's like that is a total different caliber of, because those are like, you saw Evil Dead 2, it's like I saw the third one first, and it's like, oh, we had to build up to that. You got to start there.
Yeah, I guess that's a perk of being born in the 90s, You got all the good shit and you can rummage through.
Yeah.
I'll start off with this. It takes
Yeah.
place in medieval times. I like medieval people. I guess I'll watch this. And it's a fantasy movie. Technically, it's in the
Yes.
fantasy horror genre, which is my
Yeah.
favorite. So start off there. Why not, right?
That's awesome. I love it.
It's like Monty Python meets Evil Dead. That's my favorite
Yep.
part.
I like that when the
I
skeleton
love
yells.
that.
When that skeleton yells, "Let's get the hell out of here!" That lives rent free in my head forever. I love that shit.
For sure. A lot of those quotes is just gonna live there. They can stay rent free. I won't charge them anything. Because
Yeah. Totally.
good times. Cool times. Cool times.
Real
cool
cool
times.
times.
Everything has just been phenomenal. What was it like producing this one? Have you produced other stuff before? How would you compare it to previous stuff?
Oh, Em, you want to take a stab at this, because you and I have produced all the things the past couple years together,
It's wild because they all kind of bleed together. Like,
and we usually have a couple going on at once. So it's like
yeah.
Real
So
Cool Time, we had 3 other films happening at the
Did
same
we?
time. No, we were.
no.
The PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't remember.
The same brain that everyone has since the pandemic of what is time and when was that? But yeah, no, the Real Cool Time was one of like 4 things we did in the past year. I don't remember the overlap.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Excuse.
but yeah, let me try that again.
Sorry
Did this
about
one feel
yawning.
different for you? Some of
Yeah.
the differences, like 3 of the other things we were producing at the time were features, which is definitely different than working on a short. Like I said, we jumped in and I mean, it was a lot of prep, but we had 2 nights of filming for this, and then it was 2 all-nighters, because we did not black out the windows. We were filming when it was night because we needed the lightning coming in, and we were like, well, we got to quit when the sun comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And then post was like insanely quick. Like Matt and I,
You guys put it together in a night.
yeah, he went back and reviewed the takes because he was living in Tennessee at the time, and then he came over and he had the takes selected, and we literally edited the movie in like a couple hours because there weren't a lot of cuts, and we went through and fine tuned some stuff. I already had a working pass of color grade that we just fine tuned and threw the movie together in one night. He went and took a nap, and then a couple hours later, because we were talking about a trailer, I woke him up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and he's like crashing on my couch, and he'd just been asleep for a few hours now, and I half woke him up because he was going to leave that morning. I'm telling the story terribly. Long story short, I woke him up in the middle of the night on the couch, and I was like, hey, would you like to see a trailer for the movie? He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I cut one while you were sleeping. So, and then he woke up and he looked at it, he's like, yeah, no notes, there you go. And so we literally, like, post was like an evening. The shoot was 2 days. So this was
It was a really quick turnaround.
it was more the prep, but like, honestly, like the shoot and post were nothing.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of preparation to get everything there, because also that we had to do photo shoots to have like a lot of the the magazine cover and the album cover. We had to get all the props made and everything. So there was a lot of like pre-work that went into it. But I'd say the biggest difference was the time, at least from a producing standpoint for me, because like, it took a decent amount of prep, but we just got in and like knocked through the thing, as opposed to the other ones where we were like, okay, this is like a 2-week shoot or something.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really any different. It was just a little more like a short burst of heavy concentrated bleh. Does that make sense?
I think it's the first time we've put a C-stand on a roof.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's that.
Yeah, Alice, thank you for having roof access that I could get to have the lightning outside. Because Matt's like, I want a storm coming in. I'm like, okay, can I get on the roof? And it worked out.
I wanted to ask about that. How'd you guys do the lightning effects? Like, that was pretty cool. Did you guys have to get permission from the apartment complex to be like, we're gonna have this equipment to make this lightning? Or
that is an Alice question, because all I know is that I set them up.
I guess I didn't get explicit permission, but my apartment is the top floor of one house. So my landlady lives downstairs, and she's my friend too. So, I don't think she got too upset at us for being up for 12 hours shrieking upstairs. So I think I did mention that, so there's a balcony. It's the roof of the porch. Yeah. So I asked her if the roof of the porch was sturdy enough to hold a tripod. And she said, yeah, that should be fine. So yeah, we just opened the window, and that particular window doesn't have a mesh screen. So it was pretty easy to just get out there to put that light rig, that strobing lightning effect.
And yours, just the aperture light that we have has a setting.
Well, yeah, it was actually 2, because we set up 2 lights. One that was shining into the living room, the one where the record player was, where like, they're sitting on the couch listening to music and everything, whereas that big window that's behind the couch. So we had one key lightning effect light that was set on an effect that was just shining into there. And then we had another one that was on a different timer. So it was a different strobing, like, so they weren't concurrent, shining into the room where Lanae was tied to the chair, if I remember correctly, where she's sitting in the chair. So like, because we wanted like alternating storm lights, especially when he's like, okay, so the power goes out and it's only lit by the lightning flashes. I'm like, cool, that was a fun challenge, but I liked it. But we just got out there and set up those 2 alternating lightning lights, and it was like, okay, this is supposed to be, well, not the first scene, but once you guys sit down for the tape interview, the scene after that, we knew that the storm it was in the script, like the storm starts to roll in at this point. And from then on, it was just like, okay, that's our main light, and we're just filling with practicals in the rest of the room. So it was, that was it wasn't really a complicated setup. It was just different. And it wouldn't have worked if I hadn't been able to get on the roof. So yay.
I would say the most complicated part about it is there was some blocking choreography that had to happen only when the lightning was going to flash. So we had to time out when the light was going to hit, so we could see
we're like, that
action.
one will flash in 9, 8, 7. We were like, we had people like counting each one, and it's like, because that part where we're after Lanae shuts the door and says you can't have her whenever she's looking in the mirror, and shuts the door, and then it drifts back down the hall to Alice. I was like, okay, I really want to time this so right when we push in on her close up before she goes into the room, there's lightning that would hit the wall. So we were trying to time the walk of that from the door shut to, and we're on her, lightning, and go, and it took several takes to get, but those were things that we were trying. Did we have to do that? No, we just wanted that effect. So, So yeah, the timing was tricky on that.
That's some awesome work you guys did. It was
really
nice.
Thank you.
So the prep work obviously paid off, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so you guys have been at this for a while. What is it that you learned so that you're able to properly prep for situations like this?
Ooh.
That is a good question.
That is a good question. I'm thinking.
Oh, Alice,
go ahead.
I think what Jake was saying earlier about being our own harshest critics, just rewatching and trying to, because I haven't done as much film. I've come from a theater background. So on this project, I learned a lot more about like just calibrating myself for the film, for the camera, whether that's my voice or my face. So kind of just trying to pick up nuances of my performance that I could improve for the future. And then as I'm watching, I notice all the decorations around my apartment and how like I wasn't told to necessarily clear out some of those cute things. And I know like Matt probably didn't want to trouble me very much, but like as I'm watching, I notice those things. I think for people who are seeing it for the first time, they might not notice. So, but if my apartment were ever to be used for a horror film again, I might clear out some of the cute things and put in some dirtier, grittier looking stuff.
That's up to you. We could easily arrange that, friend, if you want. But
Oh, if you want to do another horror movie there. Yeah. I think that I also come from a theater background, and a lot of what I have learned is, well, the thing has to get done because you've sold tickets to the deadline. So it's very much the same in film. It's like, well, we're here, it's the day, we're gonna have to get it done. So it really pushes your brain into creative problem solving mode, and to kind of trust yourself on that. Like, I know we had to try to find a place for a light in Alice's hallway, and so I came up with like a weird balanced rig situation that we could put a light, like, I don't know, I use gaff tape and a tripod. I don't know.
Very MacGyvered.
Yes. Sometimes you have to do that. Okay, well, we have to get this done. What is the easiest way to get from point A to point B or D to make the thing happen? I also got to flex some makeup muscles too. And I did a lot. I did the gore effects for this one.
No,
and
that arm cut and the shard in the hand, like really, really nice work.
Thank you. So, and that was all things that I have learned from my theater background. And then you just try to find the ways to make it look more and more real. Just futz with it until it gets there. Like, I think the bite was my favorite. Like the scar of the bite.
I'm sorry for not singling that one out. That is
no,
definitely
that's okay.
Probably my favorite effect in there. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just trusting yourself and all the experience that you have had up to this point to take you further in the project.
Well
It's like, yeah, I don't know. Just trust your base knowledge of the universe, and then the people around you can fill in the gaps.
I like that. I might be able to piggyback off that. I think for me, just what did I learn? I don't know. You learn something on every shoot, and I'm like, why don't I have that readily accessible? But I think the thing that I'm thinking of most right now in this moment is how much you really have to like rely on and lean on like your preparation. Sort of like Em was saying, like, like you have to get it done, and you have to like create a problem solve. We just had to do a lot more of that in advance and in the moment. There's the dirty adage that every indie filmmaker, I don't care how much you want to be like, we don't do that, so everyone does it, is that we'll fix it in post. And there's always something that you're like, well, okay, we have what we need, we have the building blocks, we can refine. I always I like refining in post. I don't like fixing things, but I do like to refine and enhance, because why not? It's not the finished version until you put it out. And I think approaching this, like when we're shooting like with very little money, very little time, because those are the two most finite resources in any art, I think, is money and time. Talent, obviously, but that's easier to find than money and time, in my opinion. I think that it is good to prep and plan and set yourself up for success, knowing that there's certain things that you can do to sort of like, smoke and mirrors, hide it if you need to in post. Because sometimes it's like, okay, well, we didn't have the money or the time for that, but we can get really close and we can polish it up. So like we knew that there was going to be some post trickery. Like, Matt was particular about the texture and the look of the movie. So like when we first did it and color graded, he's like, this is too clean. He wanted it to look like a dirty, like 90s kind of gritty movie. So we like were layering like layer after layer of like scans of film grain on top of it to make it look dirty, because he's like, it looks too good. And I was like, oh yeah, we can make it look worse. That's easy. But I'm like, I can always make it look worse. But I think
not worse, textured. You're making it look textured.
Dirty. Sorry, no, okay. Worse is wrong. Dirtying up the image, that it was too clean. Like, yeah, I'm being very brazen about that. But I think that what I'm trying to say is like I learned like on this one, all the I'll edit around that or we'll crop that out or whatever, because they were these long continuous takes. Like we couldn't rely on a lot of there was no do we have coverage? You know, it was like, okay, we'll cut away to an insert there, cut away to a reaction shot. It all had to be like, okay, you got to pan on this line, you got to catch this line, and that was arguably a little frustrating for me to get to, but like because I'm a perfectionist and I don't like not nailing things on the first try, but no one does. I just don't want. Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of feeling this out in real time. This is a good question and it's stumping me. It felt more like a play than a movie to me, if I'm being honest. Going off of what you two said, like because with these long continuous takes, we weren't able to just do a lot of the hide the seams with filmmaking tricks because we couldn't crop or cut or, edit it in a different way. It was like, no, this is the whole shot. There's nothing to cut away from. And so I felt like with the rehearsal process and going into it, it felt more like how I've approached the times that I've worked on stage productions. Like I have a film background, they have a theater background, we overlap, but it felt more stage than screen to me, and I kind of like that. I thought it was an interesting blend. It definitely, I'm not trying to be like it wasn't like a film shoot and it didn't feel cinematic, for lack of a better way of putting it. Like, but I noticed I was shifting a little bit more into approaching this like you were filming a play, and just trying to like work the camera moves rather than point, shoot, cut. So, which was fun to think about things that way. Because like for me, that's not the way I traditionally shoot. Like, no offense, like if Matt was like, here's the script, I wouldn't have thought to do it with like all these continuous takes, but like I liked the challenge. Partially because it wasn't my idea. Because I'd be like, I'm not going to hurt myself like that. But if someone else says, let's do it, it's like, let's figure it out. And I think Emily and Alice, not trying to put words in their mouth, but I feel like we're all saying like, we like to creatively problem solve, and we had to do a lot of it on this. So lean on your team, think on your feet. And honestly, it kind of like, I guess my takeaway is remember the basics, Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. So
that was long-winded. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of really good information for us. So just kind of starting to wrap up here. Where can we expect to see you? What other film festivals you got going on? What other things will you be doing with Real Cool Time?
Ooh, Alice, I think you're the most in the know on what's next here.
There have been some festival submissions for 2024. But we are, still fingers crossed, waiting on acceptances. So we don't want to jinx anything yet. But yeah, hopefully expect to see us in 2024. And then possibly the streaming option. I know Matt is working on another installment of this story. Can't say too much about that, but I think stuff is already in the works.
Yeah, I think we
may have gotten to read the script. I'm very excited about it.
We might be in pre-production for that already. Who knows? May or may not.
Nice.
Aw, that's so awesome. We cannot wait for that. Yay. And whenever you guys release it, if you guys want us to, have a little launch party or something on the show, we can.
That would be fun.
Thank you so much. Aww.
Yeah, always happy to help you guys. And I've enjoyed a lot of the work that I've seen so far. So it's always so fun to be able to sit down and talk with you guys. Kat, do you have any, Kat, or does anybody here have any final thoughts, questions, any of our viewers?
I have one last question for Alice.
Yeah.
Being all the prep that you did and knowing it was 6 shots, how did you because what happens to me, all the information just like crams in my mind at once, and it collides. How are you able to calm yourself to get through it?
I think I definitely approached it from that theater background. I'm used to memorizing whole plays. So I think the memorization wasn't too much of an issue. But I did find myself being very self-conscious when a camera was, going around me. So I feel like I had to simultaneously relax and not worry about that camera. But there were also some portions where I wanted the camera to capture my face during a specific line. So I'd have to pace out my speed. And I think there was one moment where I'm hiding in the closet for a long time, And that kind of stressed me out because when I pop out of the closet, I'm supposed to have a knife, and I kept flubbing lines during that scene. So I feel like that was kind of a stressful moment. But I think it ended up being okay, kind of like kind of relying on Jake to get my best side and everything. So
Well, that I know that scene you're talking about was so like it was so intense and chaotic, and like it was I think it was supposed to feel very tense. Like I mean that's actually really interesting to hear that, because like all I saw was that you were just in the scene.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, because like it was nervous, and I'm like trying to like run around and like not trip on something and like get to you on your line and get back over to Lanae. So like I'm like, oh, I was like, for whatever it's worth, I was just as stressed at that time on that part as you were. So solidarity.
good.
Mutual stress. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
That's what gets us through,
You know what I call this type of stress? Collaborative stress.
Yeah.
There you
We
go.
make art with our stress. That's what we do.
That's
Wait,
that's kind of the best thing.
Is every creative process just a stress test? Oh,
Possibly.
Oh.
well, unpack that one in therapy anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to unpack there. Well, thank you guys so much. I want to thank
Thank you.
all of our viewers that came in, had awesome questions for you guys. One final person came in and said, "Hi, Luna, good vibes."
Aw,
Thank
yay.
you. Thank you, Alex, for tuning in.
Yay, good vibes.
Good vibes
In.
with cool times.
Yeah.
Next week, guys, we have a packed show again. On Monday, we're doing a movie review of Creep Show with one of our fans. Juan is actually going to come on the show. We like to do fan days where fans pick a movie and then we review it together. It's a nice way to give back to our viewers that actually watch us and spend time with us.
That's awesome.
So that'll be really nice to do. And then that'll be Monday at 7. And then Tuesday, we're interviewing Robbie Dorman. He actually writes Dead End and a lot of fun horror books, and also one non-horror book that I've been reading called Burial. It's like a post-apocalyptic cowboys kind of going through like a wasteland, kind of like Borderlands meets.
Ooh, it sounds like Dark Tower.
I was like, I'm
Yes.
in. Say less. This sounds great.
Yes, it is. It is like similar to Dark Tower, so it'll be super
Dark
cool. Yes, it'll be super cool to sit down with him and talk about that. So we have a packed week next week. You guys definitely do not want to miss any of that. Jacob, Emily, Alice, thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you guys want to stick around after the show, and we'll just exchange notes, and yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for
All
having
right,
us. This has been great.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you all.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I want to thank you for listening to Delight and Fright with your hosts, Luna and Cat, a podcast for outcasts.